Hey everybody, it's Frozen and thanks for joining me. Today I'd like to talk about resupply boxes. So what is a resupply box? It's just a box that you send yourself on a long distance hike. It could contain food or gear or toiletries or really whatever you want to put in the box that you need for yourself on the trail. Some people like to use resupply boxes the whole way up a long distance trail. I knew plenty of people that did that. Some people like to use a service to have resupply boxes mailed to themselves on the trail. And some people, like me, like to mix it up. I like to have a variety of doing resupply boxes and going into town to a local grocery store or even a gas station to resupply. First, let's talk about how to send yourself a resupply box. So first off, sending a resupply box to a hotel, hostel, or gear outfitter. It's pretty self-explanatory. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put your first and last name, your real first and last name. Try not to use trail names here because most of the time the business will ask you for some form of identification. So in this case, we're gonna send a resupply box to Shaw's Hiker Hostel. And I'm gonna put my first and last name, care of, or CO, Shaw's Hiker Hostel, P.O. Box 72, Monson, Maine 04464. And then I'm also going to include my estimated time of arrival, which is going to be June 25th, 2019. It gives them an idea of when you're going to be there, when to have your box ready, or when to get rid of your box if you don't show up. Typically they'll hold boxes between 2 and 3 weeks, just like the post office. If you're sending to a post office, the addressing is going to be a little different. You're still gonna put your first and last name. You're gonna put care of, or CO, general delivery. That means it'll be delivered to the post office directly. Then you're gonna put your address of your post office. In this case, we're sending to Daleville, Virginia. And we're gonna put hold for AT Thru hiker or PCT, whatever you wanna do. And then again, put your ETA. Okay, so you go into the place that you sent your resupply box, and all you're gonna do is you're gonna say, my name is Jason, whatever, and I'm here to pick up a box. So they'll look for your box, they probably will ask for your ID, and they'll hand it to you, and what you do is you just go into a quiet corner, unpack your stuff, and get back on the trail. So you see I sent myself this box, and inside I got a cherry Coke. So my box has been picked up and I can finally enjoy whatever I sent myself. That was good. Now to get rid of your box, simply just ask whoever you picked it up if there is some place that you can throw it out. Post office is more than happy to recycle your box for you. Same with the hostels or gear outfitters. So should you just send yourself resupply packages the whole way up the trail? Seems like it'd be pretty easy. Just go into town, pick it up, and then leave. And I knew plenty of people that actually did that and were really happy with the process. So it's really personal preference here. I'll tell you what I did and what I think really worked out for me, but you're just gonna have to play around with it yourself. So what I did with my resupply boxes, the first 2 weeks I was on the trail, I actually had all my stops planned out. And I think that worked really well to kind of take that little aspect out of through hiking. You know where you're going and you have some planned mileage, you can give or take a little bit here and there, but you knew where you were stopping to get your next town stop. In fact, the first 2 weeks, the only town stop that I did was Hiawassee, when I actually went into town to get a resupply. And it just seemed like it was easier to resupply out of a grocery store or a gas station than having to worry about finding a box like this in a post office. Post offices are along the trail, but sometimes they're a little bit far away from where you're gonna be staying along the trail. And in those places, I would honestly recommend just sending yourself a box to the hostel that you're staying in. It's really, really convenient and allows you to stay off your feet compared to, going to the hostel, checking in, going to the post office, coming back, and then leaving in the morning the next day. So all this, like I said, is personal preference. You'll just have to play around with it. But I can tell you the first 2 weeks of having everything planned out and learning to hike every day and be a thru hiker was a lot easier than doing that plus figuring out how to do all your resupplies. It just worked for me. So a little tip from me to you, hopefully that helped. I had some people send their boxes to outfitters and it was really uncomfortable even for me when they opened up the box in the outfitter. It was full of Mountain House meals and many, many other things that the outfitter sold at the local store. My suggestion is try to avoid sending yourself to an outfitter, especially if they already have what you're trying to send. It just makes for a little bit of an uncomfortable situation, and I just wouldn't do it. Now, while we're talking about resupply box, I'm gonna cover bounce boxes as well. I didn't really use this on my thru hike, but I know couple people that actually did it, and it worked out really well. So bounce box is just a resupply box you don't open. Say it has some extra food that you think you might need, but you ended up not needing it. You can just simply ask the post office to bounce the box to the next town, to 100 miles away, whatever you wanted to do. As long as the box remains unopened, it's a free service that the post office does offer, at least most of the post offices that I visited at least. So hopefully that helped. If you guys have any specific resupply questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.